Hello and welcome to the Unofficial Maritime Wrestling Podcast interview series. Today we got a special guest on the podcast, Florida wrestler Sage Scott. How's it going, man?
Going good, man. How y'all boys doing?
Doing really, really good. Corey Rob Show, you're going to get us started off.
Yeah, man. First, thanks for coming, man. We appreciate having you here today. It means a lot.
Appreciate it, man. I appreciate y'all having me, man.
So we start with the basic question, man. Were you a wrestling fan growing up? And if so, who are your influences?
Come on now. I'm a 90s baby, so absolutely I grew up a wrestling fan. I was just telling a friend of mine the other day, I had the classic Ultimate, the WWF pillowcase. I didn't care if I drooled, pissed on it. I don't care. I didn't want it washed. It couldn't leave my sight. Ultimate Warrior and Jake the Snake on it. It had the Legion of Doom. I tell you right now, it's like one of those old WWF, pillowcases. I could not. That was my shit. I couldn't. Out of my sight, man. So yeah, I grew up definitely a big wrestling fan growing up. Got a lot of trouble for it too.
Yeah, we hear you there. Who are your favorite wrestlers?
Well, see, that's the crazy thing. It's like when people ask that, it's like there's like dimensions to wrestling. So there's like, oh, who's your favorite wrestler? Who's your favorite character? Like, so I like to like answer it to where it's like, okay, favorite just overall, just superstar, it ebbs and flows because at one point in my life as a youngster, it was like The Rock and The Undertaker. As I got a little bit older, started watching CM Punk and stuff like that, that it kind of gravitated towards CM Punk, obviously now Roman. So as far as who I just like, that's my guy, that's my person. But like some of the people that like, that I definitely gotta say like are like the ones that that far mentioned. They're like in the back corner, like those are the ones I really mess with. Was guys like Eddie Guerrero, Chris Jericho, Farouk, the whole Nation of Domination as a whole. I'm a big faction guy. I like the faction, and of course, like I said, DX. I got several referrals to vouch for my fandom for DX. I can tell you that right now.
We notice you hail from Compton, California. Did this ever affect your career, as has others, due to biases, prejudices?
Well, I think the business has changed so much now, as you can see. Like just thinking about in general, like when I'm growing up, it wasn't that many black wrestlers on TV. Now you see half the card is black, so it's just like I don't think it hurts so much. So I'm not gonna sit here and say that it is. And if there is any prejudice, it's not because I'm from Compton, California. It's just people see you, and they see the dreads, they see the tattoos, they see my appearance, in general. It's just I've been told it can be a little intimidating. So they wouldn't know I'm from Compton unless I told them I'm from Compton. You know what I'm saying? I don't walk around, NWA all day long and rapping, Ice Cube lyrics. Wearing Chuck Taylors and stuff like that. I don't. It's not a specific thing about me that says, oh yeah, he's from Compton. It's a mixed bag, just like anywhere else.
All right, so I love your name, man. Mr. A1 since day one, the Trillmonger. Where did this come from? And does the Trillmonger come from the Killmonger from Black Panther, since your gear does have a reference to him?
See, someone's done his homework. Of course. Well, yeah, actually it does. It does actually stem quite a bit from Black. If you didn't already know, I'm a big comic book fan. Marvel, DC,
Nice.
Capcom, yeah. But I follow that a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I drew real good inspiration from the Killmonger, his ideology and just his way of thinking. I was like, you know what, that would make a crazy character in wrestling, especially from a heel perspective, and depending on who's your crowd, and they could be also seen as a baby, so it could work either way. Yeah. And then I'll just put my own little spin on it because I said being from Compton, California, I grew up on Tupac, and being trill is like being someone who's real and true, and that's what
Yeah.
Tupac embodied. So if you mix the two, you get the trill monger, Mr. A1.
I love it, man. I love the
That's
look
right.
for sure.
Absolutely.
I agree. So we're gonna get into a little bit of the like. Okay, well, here's the question. So, would you consider yourself? So, like, actually, let me kind of get into what I was going to mention. So, like, I noticed that you have quite a bit of singles action. So, you've been in a lot of singles matches, but you also hold gold with, or I think you may have held gold with Jake St. Patrick as part of Midnight Tribe. And you also do currently hold gold with Perennial Powerhouse, which is so yourself, DMC, Sundance Superman, and also Jake St. Patrick, I believe. So are you more of a singles guy or tag team?
Actually, that's actually a really good. When I saw that, I like, you know what? I this is the one I wanted to really touch bases on. So I'm actually not really in Perennial Powerhouse. I never worked with them whatsoever. Like I know DMC. Obviously, we're good friends. Like there was an angle to where I was on a show with them, and I kind of got looped in. I guess there's no one really keeping indie books up to date. I as I see there's no Russell Zone. There's no dirt sheets for the indies. So things kind of happen, and some things get reported in real time, and some things are like on tape delay. So it's like me and Jake, we are a tag team. We've been a tag team. We actually never held tag team gold, which is like one of the craziest stats of my whole wrestling career. Somebody I've traveled the whole United States with and been in major companies with, and we've never held tag team gold. That's actually the one leg of my career that I haven't been able to accomplish yet. So whether it's with me or Jake or me and August, down the road, that's what I'm looking to accomplish. Actually, the Midnight Tribe it really started off as a 3-man faction with me and 2 other big powerhouses. Go by the name of Too Much Jackson Zane and the heavy hitter David King. So, and them 2 guys, they're actually not in the business currently right now. They're on a little bit of a sabbatical. So maybe down the road, we reunite like the bloodline and run shop. But for the most part, I started off as a singles wrestler, and I formed a little faction. And then once those 2 guys kind of like went their way, then me and Jake actually became a tag team through Alpha, the Wild Samoans. We actually attended a seminar down here in Florida, and Alpha took a liking to us. We were two of the standouts at his seminar, and he's like, hey, you guys will make a really good tag team. And you don't tell Alpha no when it comes to like God rest his soul, but you don't tell him no when it comes to tag team wrestling. I think he knows a little something about tag team wrestling in the business, so we decided to take a shot at it, and lo and behold, he was right. So that's how that came about. But yeah, for the most part, I am a singles wrestler.
Very nice. That very well does answer my question. And actually, so kind of to expand on that, because you've been on AEW Dark, and I've noticed, so you've had some tag team action and you've had some singles action. I think more tag team than singles, but in this case, so you've faced quite a lot of like pretty great talent, like the Lucha Bros, the Jericho Appreciation Society are a part of it. Like, who were your favorite guys to face off against?
As far as in AEW?
Yeah.
Or just definitely in but and then AEW, which was a great experience. I learned a lot from that. You touched on one of them right there, the Lucha Brothers, because that right there is what really gave me the inkling, like, okay, you think you're there, and then you wrestle with somebody who's that great. And it's like, okay, because the way they move in the ring, they're so fluid. They have everything down to like it's really a science. Like they have everyone knows exactly where they're supposed to be. Like it's a beautiful thing, Like they, at one point we're in the middle of the match and they're like whistling at each other, and they knew what that whistle meant. And I'm like, what is going on? Like they're so fluid. They know each other like the back of each other's hands. It's like it was beautiful to be in the ring and watch in real time. But it's like I'm competing against these guys too, so you don't want to get lost in the moment. But it's like, man, these guys they're a real well-oiled machine. So I was like, you know what, Jay, we gotta step our game up because and it wasn't like they were doing the craziest stuff. It was the simplicity in it that really caught my eye. But yeah, like you said, I've wrestled quite a few people. The Taz's guys, Taz and Powerhouse Hobbs, aka Royce Keys. That was actually another fun one. You know, Royce he's a big guy. So it's always fun when you can mix it up with the big guys because for some reason I'm always the bigger guy in my matches, and so it's fun to get that, you know, to get that little guy role sometimes, you know, get to go out there and, you know, show a different side of myself. But just touching on guys that I wrestled before in the past, I've actually also wrestled Jacob Fatu and his brothers. Actually, I wrestled them with August out in Utah. And you want to talk about, you know, I've already been at this point maybe 6, 7 years, 8 years in the business, and you never stop learning. And it's like I feel like 8 years in, I had my welcome to the business moment because if you ain't been in the ring with a Samoan, you ain't wrestled. I feel like you haven't really wrestled because those boys hit. They bring it, and they'll hey man, we're gonna go out there, we're gonna have some fun, and their level of fun is a little different than my level of fun. Let's just put it that way. We tore that place up from pillar to post.
I love when you talked about the fluidity of the Lucha Bros, and when I tell people that I watch wrestling, they'll kind of, you know, people sometimes scoff and they're like, you watch wrestling, and I'm like, dude, it's like going to watch Broadway. It's art, man. It's an art form that I just respect it and I love it. And if you can't realize it, then you're never gonna get it. But man, it's art.
Yeah, because you don't go to we wouldn't go to an art gallery and watch the people who are marveling over Michelangelo or any other artist's painting and then walk in and say, yeah, that's pretty stupid. You guys look at this painting. It can't go anywhere or do anything. Imagine that, but in real time. That's what we marvel at. It's live art.
Yeah, exactly. You got it. I like your points. Love it. Absolutely love it. So a question for you now: have you ever performed in Canada, or like, is this your first time?
This is going to be the first time.
First time,
absolutely. So of course, are you being with IPW?
Yeah, okay, that's awesome. But like, are you familiar maybe like with the promotions or the talent here, or anything like that? Like, have you been familiarized with it at all?
Well, shout out to Justin and shout out to August. You know, they've been filling me in on a lot of guys because, you know, ideally, I'm the kind of person I come from a football background, so usually I'm only scouting the opponent that I have up next. I don't really spend too much time watching, you know, outside wrestling as far as like if it is not pertaining to like what I'm doing, because I try to stay focused and give whoever I'm wrestling that my utmost attention, that way I can like know what they do, you know, and so we can, you know, make the best match possible for the fans and just for ourselves too, because I'm not a fan of putting out bad tape. So because you never know who's watching. You never know who's watching.
That's right.
I got friends that have been snatched up off the indies, off of doing a bingo hall show because they didn't know that, you know, Bruce Pritchard or executive of Bruce Pritchard was sitting in the stands. You don't know who comes to these shows, you know. So you want to treat every match like you're at Mania. You want to treat every match like you're at Monday Night Raw. I don't care if it's in front of 15 people or 300 some people. You know, you gotta give that same energy every single time. So yeah, I have started to, you know, over the last, you know, few weeks and months, so familiarize myself with some of IPW's roster and, you know, and some of the things that they do, so that, you know, later on down the road we can do business.
That's right. Yeah. What about this guy called Spike Esty? You got something on him?
This Spike guy, he's a cute wrestler. Like I think that he's what we like to call a crowd pleaser. You know, I think he's more concerned about people getting behind him and liking him. But I'm the kind of person that I'm all about results. You know what I'm saying? But we want Spike Chance ain't gonna win you championships. That's all I got to say. So, and he's about to find out firsthand. He's gonna find out firsthand. I've said it before. I'll say it again. This is the biggest test for his career. It's me. He ain't gotta like me. He ain't gotta love me. But in the night, he damn sure gonna respect me. And that's just big old facts.
Absolutely.
There you go, Spike.
So, Auguste Artois. He's the IPW heavyweight champion, the longest reigning FIP world heavyweight champion. I know he's one of your rivals. How do you feel about him as a person and as a performer?
As a person, I love him. It's my brother. If we could be on every show together, trust me, we would. We've said that several times in traveling, and we talk on the phone. We're the closest friends, but I think the closest friends make for the greatest rivals. I like me and his relationship to like Shawn and Triple H. Shawn and Triple H, they love each other, but if you ever seen their matches, they beat the hell out of each other. And that's what me and August do. Every time me and August get in the ring with each other, we beat the hell out of each other. More so me beating the hell out of him, but definitely we beat the hell out of each other. He's my favorite punching bag. I love to punch August in the face. It's one of my national treasures. I love it. So
I feel like you're not the only one to say that.
Oh yeah. He has a very punchable face. But I just think that I see his face like I want to punch it. That's August. That's August Artois. I see him. I think heavy bag. That's all I want to do is just beat him pillar to post. But all jokes aside, I am very proud of him and all the things he's accomplished. And he's actually, like I said, he lit a fire into me because I've been wrestling a little bit longer than he has. But you never. It's in this business. I don't get wrapped up in who's been wrestling longer, this, that, and the third, because talent is talent, and you can draw inspiration and motivation from anybody. I don't care if they're 1 year in, 2 years in, 3 years. Like the guys that get too high and mighty and oh brother, I've been doing this for 18 years, but what have you done and who have you been and who respects you? You know what I'm saying? August has been doing this for 6 years and he's got a world of fans that respect him and peers that respect him. So you can't tell me it's all about longevity. Sometimes, greatness is greatness. And I see him and me coming from a football background, I'm a competitor. So it's like the caveat is like, okay, yeah, cool, he's my friend, but he's also got certain things that I want, So I look at him as the standard bearer. So he's holding the torch until I snatch it from him.
If you do come out on top in the IPW Rumble, do you feel prepared to face Auguste Artois or the man he is facing that night? He is defending the title at IPW Rumble against the Ghost Ricky Mortis. So you might be swerved and not be taking on Auguste at all.
Well, I put it to you this way. If Auguste can survive his match and I win the Rumble, and I become the number one contender for the IPW Heavyweight Championship, it's not going to be a matter of if I'm ready for August. It should be more so the question should be reversed to, is August ready to face me again? Because he knows just as well as I do that I take a piece of him every single time we wrestle. That's why we don't wrestle as often, because he knows better. You want to keep I know they say keep your friends closer, your enemies closer, but it's actually in the reverse when it comes to me and him. He wants to keep me as close as possible. It's better to keep the right hand man in the right hand man position. You know what I'm saying? You don't want the right hand man to raise up and challenge you for the title of chief. If you catch what I'm saying.
Absolutely. Before we wrap up this interview, do you have anything to say to your fans, either from Florida or from around the world, that have followed your career?
And I appreciate your support up to this point, man. It's in this business. It's like it's a lot of expectation, especially when you like I said, you look a certain way. People look at you like, man, they see people on TV and they see you because indie fans. I love indie fans because they see it different than I think a lot of the casual wrestling fans see it. And they see guys on the indies that they know that man, you should be the one on TV. You should be the one doing that. So when people see me, it's like, man, they see a spot they didn't really agree with on Raw or SmackDown or AEW or whatever, and then they come to an indie show like, man, you could have did that better, or you could have did this, you could have did that. So it actually gives like a little, a little pressure, a little expectation. They're expecting this to be you one day, and we all know that's the business is a little different. It doesn't work exactly like that. It's not like the NFL where, hey, the best player gets drafted in the first round. Sometimes, the road to prosperity in wrestling ebbs and flows and has so many different valleys and lanes that you can take that, it is a little frustrating when you are an athlete or you're a competitor because you don't know which lane is the lane that you need to take to get to that land of prosperity. But I just want to appreciate all the fans that, that still stick by me throughout the years and they want to see this from me and want to see this from me and my family and for me to, actually one day to become up and be one of those guys. And just stay tuned, man. I'm pushing. We got Canada coming up. We're going to be going back to Row, Reality of Wrestling in Houston. And OVW is on the docket as well. And I've been saying it all year long since I won the FIP Florida Heritage Championship. All 2026, I'm putting people in the mix. And that's big old facts.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself. Where can people find you on social media?
On X, I go by as S Trailmonger. Facebook is Sage Scott. And on Instagram, it's Mr. _ A1 _ Sage Scott. And obviously, you'll see me. I'm in the picture. I have my championship held high. Because that's what we do. We represent the champions that we are, and the companies that we represent. So we try to make sure we represent them to the highest ability. I'm not one of these. I have to say it because there's a lot of wrestlers who they say they're wrestlers and they got a picture at the mall or something like that as their profile picture. I'm like, if you're a wrestler, flaunt that. You know what I'm saying? Don't be afraid to, because I know that there was an era where, wrestling wasn't cool. It wasn't cool to be a wrestler. Or I thought it was like, man, wrestling is really dumb. It's fake. And so people try to hide their fandom or hide their love for it. I'm not hiding nothing. And if you think it's fake, just line it up with me and I'll show you how fake it is. So that's all I got to say. And I know I speak for a lot of fans and a lot of wrestlers when I say that. So that's why I had to put that out there. There ain't no faking it and there ain't no stopping it. Mr. A1 since day one.
Love it. You can catch Mr. A1 from day one, the Thrillmonger, at Island Pro Wrestling, Game on Island Rumble, May 16th, Cornwall, PEI, the APM Sender. Sage Scott, thank you very much for joining us.
Man, I appreciate y'all having me, man. It's been a pleasure.
And we will see you next time. Take care, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in to the Unofficial Maritime Wrestling Podcast. We drop new episodes every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Atlantic Time, so make sure to join us each week. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram, and also listen to the episodes and interviews on all your favorite podcast platforms, like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. And if you want to support us even further, grab one of our t-shirts over at Pro Wrestling Tees. Just scan the QR code to get yours. Until next time, thanks for listening and supporting Maritime Wrestling.